I don't know, this doesn't look like a trail, does it? And of course we have some sort of machinery in the background. Let's see if we can find some silence and some trail. I believe this is mustard greens? Wild mustard? Oh, garlic mustard, I think. I have to look that up. There is a lonely but lovely daffodil. And here's a whole patch of May apples. Well, it looks like I have found a path, so that's helpful. Good morning, beautiful people. I'm in the same area as I was. Oh, there's some purple flowers. I'm in the same area as I was last week, but I'm approaching the creek from a different angle. Seeing those May apples, I'm reminded of the morel mushrooms coming out soon. It's been a little bit too cold the past week, but maybe on the sunny side of the hills there might be a few early ones popping up. I'm not sure if you can notice, but I have finally figured out my gimbal. Oh, look what I found. Hello, boys. Nice. Ooh, that is a deep hole there, carved out by the water. A couple of days ago I posted a short video in my playlist called Streams of Consciousness with the quote, "The desire to be better than robs us from just being enough." And that's what I want to talk about today. Oh, I see we are in. I have been here before. So now we can go left. I think I'm gonna go right. This is beautiful. So funny, as I was trying to take a picture, first a couple with a dog and then a runner ran into the image. That bird is the red cardinal. It's the bird of the state of Virginia. I don't think it's a trail, this here. It's more caused by rain. But I do like the light in that field. Ooh. A little adventure here. Ooh, the birds are so active. See, this is just lovely. Now I don't know where the creek is. I have a feeling it's over there. Let me check the map. Okay. The map says it's somewhere over there. I have to be very careful here because I see swamp cabbage. That means it's very wet here. There's some swamp cabbage. Close to this creek. I would be surprised if there were some frog eggs here. Let's see if we can cross this little, shall we call it, a brook. I think this is the size of a brook. Okay, I think I can make this. Uh-oh. Something must have died here. Look at all these feathers. Dead bird. Somebody's dinner. I don't hear or see a creek yet. I have a feeling I'm very close. I think I hear something. Et voila. There it is. Wow, that looks like a big, that could be a big beaver dam. Let's find a nice spot. some wind. I hope my wind helper mitigates that sound a little bit. I don't know. Oh, there's a little obstacle here, and I am not ready to walk on a tree yet. I finally found a nice spot here. As you may know, I'm Dutch, and one of the things I noticed as I arrived in the US is that competition is a big thing here. In the US, competition is almost like a moral value. It's not just a strategy, but a virtue. From youth sports to grades to career ladders, Americans are taught that competing makes you better, stronger, sharper. It's sort of baked into the mythology that the best rises. But that framing quietly assumes there's always a ranking, there's always a race. And in Dutch culture, and maybe in much of Northern Europe, we lean more towards what we call gelijkheid, equality, levelness. Like bragging about beating others, that reads as something socially awkward. It's not admirable. The goal is more often to focus on collective sufficiency than individual dominance. Oop! We have some wind here. A gust is coming through. So operating in this competitive mode, it can quickly become like a lens problem. Once you put on your competitive glasses, you can't unsee the scoreboard. Every interaction becomes a comparison. Am I ahead or behind? Am I winning or am I losing? And that lens is exhausting. Also, it's not neutral. It actually changes what you notice and what you miss. A walk in nature, for example, looks completely different when you're not competing. When I go on a walk, I don't count the distance or time. Also, the tree isn't beating the other trees. The river isn't trying to outperform the stream. I think being competitive can be very addictive, which is not surprising because winning triggers dopamine. But like all dopamine loops, the hit requires escalation. You will need a bigger win. The competition itself stops being the point. The rush of winning becomes the drug. And losing starts to feel like more than just losing. It feels like not existing properly. Also, if there's only one winner, what are the rest? Losers? That's the quiet poison. A system with one winner produces many people who have internalized failure. Competition at scale is a machine that manufactures inadequacy. Now, it's not all negative. Some level of competition can clearly sharpen. The question is what kind, in what context, and at what cost. What if the goal isn't to win, but to not let the game define you? You can compete fiercely in specific arenas while refusing to let the competitive lens colonize your whole life. This is actually quite hard in America, where the scoreboard follows you everywhere. The desire to be better than, it's not even ambition really. Ambition can be private, directional, and it can be yours only. Better than requires an audience and a loser. The scoreboard doesn't stay on the field. It moves into your kitchen, your relationships, your Instagram feed. You're comparing houses, bodies, kids, vacations, careers. Not because you're shallow, but because the competitive lens has been so thoroughly installed that it runs in the background automatically. You don't even decide to compare. It just happens. The cruel thing is, you can win and still feel behind because someone else won more. The scoreboard is never final. So the question is, what can you do about it? For me, it was maybe easier because I came from Europe. You know, I didn't grow up with this competitive mindset, so I could just say I'm not participating. You can start noticing the compare trigger, just catching yourself. Oh, there it is again. I'm comparing myself. And then you have the choice to not further engage with it. You can also switch the question from am I better than to am I more myself than I was? Well, that's a completely different ways with only one participant, and that's you. You can also deliberately create spaces with no scoreboard, like a walk in the woods, or a meal without phones, a conversation where nobody's performing. These are not luxuries, they are repairs. You can also try to make enough a practice. You won't feel enough by accident. It's almost a daily choice. Because the culture is constantly suggesting that you are not enough. Simply being and being enough. Being doesn't compete. A moment doesn't try to beat another moment. When you're fully in an experience, like really in it, there's no room for the scoreboard. Because there's no distance between you and what's happening. Competition requires standing outside your life and then measuring it. While presence requires stepping inside it. The Dutch have a word adjacent to this. It's called gezelligheid. It's a cozy, connected warmth of just being together with no agenda. There is no competitive version of gezelligheid. You can't win it. Actually, that's almost the point. The scoreboard follows you everywhere until you stop playing the game long enough to remember that you were never just a scorer. Trying to see if I can find a young swamp cabbage, because they look sort of alien. I think I spotted something here. That's what I mean. When you see these popping up, that's the beginning. There's another one. A whole patch here. trying to find my way back to the trail. I think I came from there, but let's see what this route brings us. There's all these beautiful yellow flowers, a whole carpet of them. Okay, we'll try. It feels like the trail is somewhere over there. Don't ask me how I can feel a trail. Maybe I should go back to where I came from. Found it. Sort of a runoff here, you can tell. Okay. Back on the trail. The real one. Right in the middle is a red cardinal, but they are really hard to film. There you go, Edwin. There. What do we have here? These are pretty. So this is my first time working with a gimbal, and it's sort of interesting because I can do all sorts of things. I hope I don't make you dizzy. And it just keeps tracking. Let's see. I think I came from there. So beautiful people. I wish you an amazing week. And remember, you don't have to participate in any competitions. You are enough. And you are allowed to just be like this butterfly. Hello, you. I send you my love, and I thank you for watching. I'll see you next week. Bye.